Hi everyone, it's me Darlene. I am here with block number 10 for the Quilt Block of the Month series. If you're not familiar with this series, I have a playlist link in the description of this video and also on the end screen. I've been making one block per month. This is the year 2024. We are doing October and I decided on a leaf. I used to love to see the leaves change in Maine, and I wanted to do a leaf that was going to be kind of on the purple side, but I didn't have any print that looked good, so I'm going with this golden, mottled golden orangey color. I just thought that would be okay. This leaf is very simple. You'll find it on YouTube everywhere, maple leaf. There's a couple of them. I picked the simplest one, but I made changes. I do it a different way so we can save on fabric for our half square triangles, and also we make the half square triangles a little bit bigger than needed so we can trim down to size. I like to do things that way. All you need are 3 different fabrics. You need one for your leaf. I highly suggest you do not do a directional print. Just do something that, looks leafy. You can do what you want. And we need a background, and I am doing a directional background. I don't know if it's going to work. I'm making half square triangles out of 2 of them, and I'm going to give it a try. And then we need a little piece of scrap for a stem. So for the leaf, you need 2 2.5-inch squares and 3 2-inch squares. For the background, you need 3 2.5-inch squares and 1 2-inch square. And for the stem, and we're going narrow this time, we're going to need a piece 3/4 of an inch wide by about 4 inches tall. We'll be trimming that down. We want it a little too tall. And we're going to get started by making some half square triangles. For the half square triangles we're about to make, you want the 2 2.5-inch squares of leaf fabric, and you want 2 of the 2.5-inch squares of the background. And we're going to put these right sides together. I'm going to flip this like this because I want to show you my diagonal lines, and like this. Now, my print is directional. I made sure they're both going in the same direction, these 2 pieces. And you're going to just do a diagonal line. I don't know if you can see that good, but mine's going this way and this way. We're just making them exactly the same. So diagonal line, diagonal line. You're going to cut that line, so it's okay if you have something like pen. I used a pen. We're going to sew 1/4 of an inch on each side of those lines. Now we're going to cut on the line, and I will press those open. Now we have 4 half square triangles. I'm going to put them on my mat, and I'm going to take my rotary cutter and my ruler, and I'm going to trim them to 2 inches square. Now we have these 2-inch half square triangles. Let's move those aside. Now we're going to take the background 2.5-inch square. We're going to cut that in half. I'm going to just go do that on my mat, just in half diagonally. We're going to do the stem now. So I have my half square triangle that is cut in half diagonally. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to take the little stem piece. Now, as a reminder, this is, I'll show it to you this way, 3/4 of an inch this way, and about 4 inches. You just want it to be longer than your half square triangle on that diagonal line. And here's the way we're going to do it. Put this down, and we're going to put this face down just anywhere, as long as there's some of the stem sticking out on both ends. And we're going to do 1/4 of an inch right there. And I'm going to just finger press open at this point. Now here's how we're going to line this one up nice and even with this one. We're going to lay this one down also. And you can kind of see your points, if they're about the same. And, I'm having a hard time. You can also match up the points here. Like I can tell my corner is not quite right. Doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not aiming for perfect, like ever. But I think that's going to look okay. But see how it looks there at the tip? That's what I think it should look like. And now I'm just going to sew 1/4 inch there. Now I'm going to press this open. Now we have this, and this is way too big for us, so we're going to trim it down to 2 inches square. You're going to need to take a little off each side, but if it's not perfect, again, don't worry about it. Now it looks like this. It's so much easier to make it too big than trim after. Now we're done with our pieces. We just have to put this puzzle together. So we've got this, and now take your 3 leaf 2-inch squares. Those go like this. Now we're going to do the points, and these go like this. So you want the leaf touching the leaf color, leaf touching the leaf color, and on here we want them facing up like this. We want this here and this here, leaf touching leaf, leaf touching leaf, and then we have this guy, and I'm going to put him this way. So all my things are indeed going in the same direction. And that's our leaf, but it's going to shrink down because now we have to sew this all together. You can do it by sewing these 3 together, these 3 together, these 3 together, and then putting them together like that. Or you can do it, you know, sewing those 3, those 3, those 3. That's totally up to you. I think I'm going to move this down, and I don't want to get confused and, you know, make things wrong. So I'm going to put this here, and I'm going to sew right here. I will open and finger press. Now I know this goes here. Finger press. I don't care which way your seams go. They usually have a mind of their own. Let them do what they want. This here. Like that. Oops. Now this goes here. So far so good. Now we have these 3. This here. And this here. That's our little stem piece. Now we have this. See how it's looking so leafy? We are going to put some background around it. Now we're going to sew those 3 rows together, and don't worry about your points or intersections or anything like that. You know we're not going to do a perfect job by any means. So I'm going to sew this to this, and this goes here. Let me press it open. This is what we have so far. I'm going to put some more background around it, and then I will be putting our black border around it. I'm doing black. You can be doing whatever else you want. So we are going to need some more background fabric. I forgot to tell you that at the beginning. So let me just cut some strips, and then I'll tell you how wide I cut them. Oh yeah, so this I just evened it up a little bit. We're not trimming down to a particular size, but I can tell you I've got about 4 3/4 square. Yours can be bigger, smaller. Don't worry about it, because you can make up for that when we put the background around it and also the border. I'll be right back. It's 2 days later. I don't even know if I'm wearing the same shirt as I was 2 days ago. I am going to finish this up. I absolutely love it. I really do. And I've decided I'm going to go around with background, and I cut my strips 1¼ inches this way, and you just need it as long as you need it, you know, to be able to to cover this whole part. So I'm going to sew, and I have a directional print, so I'm paying attention to that. I'm going to sew one strip here, one strip there. I'm doing it off camera. I'm in a hurry. Now I have this. Is this the way it was going? This is the way I had it, I do believe. No, this is the way I had it. I don't know what I had. Okay, so I have a piece of background on each side, and I'm just going to trim this like this and this. And now I'm going to put a strip on the top and the bottom. And again, this is 1¼ I know I told you that. And just as long as you need. This is what I have. And I trimmed it. I just, trimmed it enough to make it even. I wasn't going for a certain size. But mine turned out to be 6 inches square. So if yours is much smaller than mine, then you're going to want your border to be bigger. Mine are 2 inches. My border is 2 inches by as long as I need. I just cut the full width of the fabric. If your leaf square is coming out bigger, you can trim it down to 6 if you want, or you can make narrower borders. Whatever works. So now I'm just going to do the borders, and I'm going to start on the sides, just because I feel like it. There. And then I'll put a strip there. This is what I have now. And I ran out of my piece that I had. So I'm starting a new strip. And I'm just going to do the same, top and bottom. We are done this way. I think that's the way I wanted it. Now my borders are not exactly the same size because I just trimmed quickly. You want to get a block that has a final size of 8½ inches square. So when you measure your leaf block, just plan accordingly. If you need a wider border than 2 inches, use that. If you need narrower, well, I don't bother with something narrower. I'd rather have something too wide and trim down. So you want to come out with 8½ inches square because we're going to be putting this in the final quilt block and it needs to fit the puzzle, right? So you don't have to make this for the final quilt block. I will let you use just a square of fabric, 8½ inches square, or you can use something from a fabric panel or a big print, whatever you want, or just any kind of specialty block. If you want to just make like a half square triangle or something, you just need something 8½ inches square. So this is it for our leaf block. I really like it. I do. It's simple, and I like simple. It was very easy to make. Next video will be me putting this in the final block, and then part 3 will be me showing you the big stitch quilting that I did. Go get caught up with this series because I show you from the beginning how we're doing everything, okay? I don't have to repeat it that way every time. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe. Go check out the links in the description of this video, and I'll be back with more soon. Bye! Oh, and check out my eBay store. The link is in the description for that too.